Hello everyone, I am so glad that you are here. I never quite know how to start these videos, but I do know that I'm really grateful that you are here and that you're watching this. I put a lot of work and effort into making these, so it means a lot to me that you would take any time out of your day to watch this. And I do my best to try to make these educational but also not too long-winded. So I'm kind of hoping that this just feels like a bit of like a fireside chat. And please excuse me if I say a lot of ums or if I make mistakes, but like I like to say, I am not a robot, I am a human, and in the art world, I think that we can all agree that we would prefer humans to be making our art and not robots. Before I go any further, I wanted to show you guys the quarterly print for my Patreon Rewards Club. If you want this print in the mail, you have until the end of this month, June 2025, to sign up for the Heart Crystal tier on my Patreon. So, in addition to receiving a print, you will also receive access to over 100 posts, including 30 videos. All of this includes behind the scenes, exclusive content, super secret art that nobody else has seen on social media, and then also you gain access to participating in Q&As and polls. So once again, you have until the end of this month to sign up for Heart Crystal on my Patreon, and I will put the link in the description below. So I want to talk about this piece that you're seeing me draw here right now. This was a commission piece that was purchased by someone for their girlfriend for her birthday, which I think is very sweet. And the request was that she be an elf holding a cocktail knife with or cocktail sword or whatever, you know, those little cocktail swords. He wanted it to have an olive on it, and I thought that that was very clever and very creative. And then my color palette that I was given was green. I have gone over my digital painting process in past videos, so I kind of want to like cut to the dramatic lighting part, which you will see in the end. In fact, I'm not even going to cut to it. I'm going to come back to it when the video gets to the point where I start to do the dramatic lighting. So you all have seen this process, or I say you have. If you have not, please go back and watch past videos because I have gone over my lining process, how I block in colors, how I render. Please go check those out because I would love for you to have a start to finish explanation for how I do Photoshop paintings. Since I am not going to talk about the drawing quite yet, I want to talk about some other things. So first, I want to share with you guys some stuff that I've been really excited about that I feel like I am dying to share because I think the world needs to know about these really cool things that I've experienced lately. And I really just want to share so that like you can, if you're interested, you can go and experience it too. So first things first, my partner and I, Robert, we went and saw Sinners in theaters. So if you don't know what Sinners is, it is the new Michael B. Jordan movie where Michael B. Jordan plays himself and himself. So it's really cool how they do it. So he actually plays twin brothers called Smoke and Stack, and I'm not going to go into the story. I'm not even going to tell you what it's about because I kind of went into it blind, and I'm really glad that I did. But I can't stop thinking about this movie. It was so good. It is probably the best movie I have seen in the last 10 years, and I don't say that lightly. It had the most amazing soundtrack. I thought it had such a good storyline. I'm easily pleased, so maybe it's just me, but apparently it's getting really good reviews too. So if you are a movie buff, or even just appreciate good film at all, or even actually no, if you're just a person, just go see the movie. It is so, so good. Try to see it in theaters too, or just listen to the soundtrack to, you know, wet your palate. But the movie is fantastic. It's Sinners, Sinners. No, I'm just kidding. But like seriously, it's so good. Go check it out. So I also wanted to throw in here a show that Robert and I just started watching called Scavenger's Reign. This is on Netflix, and it is an animated sci-fi television series that we've only watched the first episode and a half for, but so far I am very blown away. It's super cool. It's about a group of space explorers who get stranded on another planet, and they have to interact with the other animals along this planet. I don't know. It's crazy. It's so good though. It's a show that I'm looking forward to watching every single night. So I recommend it. Go check it out. And then one other thing is that we also went and saw season 2 of Dandadan in theaters. They are showing the first 3 episodes, at least in theaters by us in Columbus, Ohio. And it did not disappoint. It was so good. It was so action-packed. It was so funny. So if you have Dandadan season 2 in theaters by you, I do think it's worth going to theaters and checking it out. The other thing I have been absolutely obsessed with, and maybe you've heard of it, is a little video game called Blueprints. So Prince. So it's kind of a play on words, like a blueprint and then a blueprints. And the idea actually is that you are this little boy who travels through this home that has 45 rooms, but you're trying to find the 46th room. That's saying it in very vague terms. If anything, just go look up the YouTube video for it. In fact, I'll link it in the description below. But it is one of those games that I have had dreams about it. I don't want to say about what and like what I've done, because it's one of those games that's best played when you don't know what's going to happen. Like there's so much problem solving in a good way. There's so much, like, there's riddles, there are secrets, I don't know how to explain it. If you're somebody who appreciates a good puzzle game, I think it's such a fantastic game. It was so well made, and it is one of those games too where you have to play a few rounds of it before it really starts to pick up and you start to put pieces together, literally and figuratively. And it's one of those games that I cannot wait to go sit down on the couch and play. So it's called Blueprints, and I'm playing it on the PS5, but I think you can play it on other platforms. Seriously, it's such a great game. I'm obsessed. I think that you would be too. So go check that out. And oh yeah, so season 4 of Love, Death, and Robots just came out on Netflix. If you have not seen Love, Death, and Robots, it's actually one of those TV shows that is really palatable because each episode stands on its own. Each episode has a different story. It's made by different artists and different producers. So it's one of those things where you can just like sit down, watch one episode, move on to the next. Some of them are serious, some of them are funny, absolutely hilarious. Some of them are really artistic. So it's one of those shows that like you can even leave and pick back up on. I will say so far season 4 is a little bit like not quite as good as the first 2 seasons. That was my favorite. But we're only on like episode 3 right now, so I'm not going to judge it yet. I'm going to finish all of season 4. As an artist, I think I really appreciate seeing all the different art styles in each episode, but you do not have to be an artist to appreciate this show. So Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix. Nobody is paying me to tell you these things. I just get so excited about some of the things that I'm consuming, and I just need to share them with other people so that they can have all the joy and fun in the world just like I do. So this one's kind of random, but I have been really obsessed with making spring rolls lately. Yes, I know it's kind of weird, but I've been getting the circular rice paper and just cutting up a bunch of veggies, putting in basil, lettuce, things like that, and wrapping it up in rice paper. And I like it because it's a really easy way to eat my veggies, and I love anything that you can dip. If you have trouble eating your veggies, maybe it would be a good idea. Yeah, honestly, I just kind of like making spring rolls. I think it's kind of fun to roll it all up and crunch, crunch, munch. I'm such a weirdo. So after we watch the 4th season of Love, Death, and Robots, we will need something new to watch, which is where I need some help, maybe some requests from you guys of what we should watch next. Robert and I are fans of anime, but we're also willing to watch other things too. So whatever you guys want to recommend in the comments, it would make my life a lot easier because I have a lot of decision fatigue. So we are open. Just let me know, leave a comment, and I'll let you know what we end up watching in the next video. Okay, so let's get to it because we are at the part in the video where I start to add the dramatic lighting. So what you have just seen me do here is add a separate layer of a color, nothing specific, just on that left side of the character. So I try not to go too overboard, but I just try to find the very border and the edges of the hair, the tip of the ear, and then the shirt. And I take my time going through and adding a gradient to that color. So I'm looking for a dark to light, and it's really just a process of playing around with what colors look good and how dark or light I want it. And I also play around with changing the style of the layers. So there's different styles, like a multiply layer, there's a pin light layer. So there's all different things that you can do to that specific layer to change the way it looks, like its transparency and adding more color and stuff. I'm actually not even entirely sure how most of it works, but I just kind of flip through and just find what I like. So a lot of times it's just intuitive finding what works, but a lot of it is just play, and I think that's a big part of art, right? Is just playing and having fun. So what you're gonna see me do here next is I'm outlining my character and then creating a whole layer in purple just along her outline. So then from there, I take the eraser tool and I try to keep the erasing really light and soft. And I play around with how I want the lighting to look, but whatever I end up erasing is going to be the light that shines through the shadow. So I decided to end up with these like vertical streaky lines going across the character, but I decided that that wasn't dark enough. So I ended up creating another layer on top of that shadow layer to create some yellow whitish light streaks. So it's really contrasting with that shadow that I just created to really give the impression that there's some hard light that's coming through in this quote-unquote tavern that this character is in. I really wanted to make it seem like there was like a fire behind her and maybe there was some music and dance going on in this maybe like a medieval tavern, and that lighting really gives the idea that there's something else happening in the room that you can't see. So I've talked about this before in previous videos, but about creating mystery, creating intrigue, inspiring the viewer to use their imagination, and that's what I'm trying to do with this dramatic lighting. I'm constantly going back and forth and tinkering with things as I'm painting. I went back in and added highlights to her lips, her nose, her eyes, and in order to do this, I don't know what you would call it, like the shadow layer, like I turned it off so that I could see what was happening underneath. So in order to turn off a layer, all you have to do is click that little eyeball that's to the left of your layer, and that way you can kind of toggle on and off your different layers to see how you want things to look. So I also played around with the idea of adding a flare to this drawing. So you can see I went in and tried to add a flare to the star in her forehead, tried to add a flare to her hair. So a flare is basically just like a flash of light that's really bright, but I ended up not doing that. If you guys ever want, I can do a like more slowed down tutorial on that. Just feel free to always let me know if there's something that you just, even if you're not an artist, like just that you would be interested in seeing how something works. So then after all this, I go in and I do my background and I add a little bit of like I don't know, like circles to imply that maybe there's like some dust in the air, or maybe even like a magical vibe behind this character. And I just like go on forever and ever playing around with the colors and the gradients of the background. So a lot of times I spend a lot of how do you say it? A lot of like tedious work, like, and a lot of time on just small things, but it's in order to make it look the way that I want by the very end. So I kind of forgot to record this last part, but what I ended up doing is creating a layer over my line art layer and using this really bright yellow to create even more dramatic lighting. So I wanted to cover up those harsh dark lines along the side of the character's body, and then I love adding in these little golden strands of hair. It just implies that it's just catching the light and that it's got this really, again, dramatic ambiance or whatever, you know, like light is hitting from the back. And I really love how she turned out. Basically after this, I just did a lot of tinkering around and just trying to get things just right. Then when it's all said and done, I adjusted my layers, I adjusted the saturation and the colors and just played around with how dark and how light I wanted things. I just, more than anything at this process in the drawing, I just want to make sure everything looks really cohesive. As you see, I zoom out a lot and I have that little screen up in the left-hand corner, and that just allows me to see more of a zoomed out view of my drawing so I don't get too lost in the weeds of the details. I then just kind of make sure everything looks good, looks cohesive, looks the way that I want by the very end, and then I flatten every single layer so that it's all just one layer, and then I save it as a JPEG, and that allows me to be able to email and send this as a photo as opposed to a PDF copy. It's always so important if you are doing a painting on Photoshop and you flatten your layers, you flatten your image, to unflatten it after you save it, because that way you can go back in and you can make more edits in the future if you want. I've made that mistake before. And that is it. At the time of making this video, the person that this commission was for has not gotten her drawing yet. So I will keep you guys updated on Patreon on if she loved it. I hope she will. And I hope you guys loved it too, and hope you maybe learned something along the way. That's always my hope for these. Once again, if you want to receive a print in the mail and want access to tons of videos and posts, you have till the end of the month, June 2025, to sign up for the Heart Crystal tier on my Patreon. So I will put the link in the description below, and that's about it. Thanks for watching. Bye. Testing. I am so not sure what to say. More a request. What?